So I was that intern that was picking at the executives' brains, like, how did you get to where you are today? And it was awesome because I actually earned some mentorship from, the sales VP, the CEO, and the CFO. So I ended up meeting the financial advisor who managed their 401k plan at the time. And, we sat down and had lunch. He told me, all the things I needed to do to get into the industry. And I honestly fell in love, with the financial world. So what happened was 2 weeks later after that conversation, he comes back up to me and he goes, "Hey, I loved your initiative. I would like for you to come work at the firm after graduation." I was a junior at Oakland University, like, wow, I have a gig lined up already. This is awesome.
Welcome back to the ROCC Pod, produced for the Royal Oak, Michigan Chamber of Commerce. I'm John Gay from Jagged Detroit Podcasts.
And I'm Lisa Bibby from Century 21 Northland.
Lisa, we both have a connection with today's guest, Benson Onyegbula. He started out in the financial advisor world. I do a lot of podcasts with financial advisors, and he's moved over to real estate and residential real estate, your neck of the woods. So I know the two of you are going to have a lot to talk about. Benson, welcome to the show.
This is awesome. I appreciate you.
So before we start, you told us that you're a bit of an Airbnb connoisseur. What is your favorite thing about staying in that you love?
I would say from the host's perspective, how they kind of set up the entire trip. From before we get to the Airbnb to while we're there, if they've recommended any restaurants, any cool amenities they have within their Airbnb. So honestly, just the hospitality feel. It's kind of like a cool experience.
What makes a good Airbnb host?
I would say communication is key, for sure. Communication beforehand, during the trip, kind of just a couple check-ins. And then lots of amenities such as linens, lots of towels, right? Those always run out so fast.
Yeah, it's not a hotel where you can call downstairs to room service. One of the first times I stayed at an Airbnb, I was at a podcast conference in Philly, and I got there in the morning and it was not clear what time departure and arrival, and the previous guest was still there. And I was like, with my luggage from the airport, and I'm like, this is awkward. So your point about communication is certainly well taken.
100%.
Yeah, I love the privacy of them. Like, you go there and you have this whole home all to yourself. It's a much different feel than like staying in a hotel where you just feel like you're passing by with a room for the night,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, how hotels play out in the long term versus Airbnb. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Okay, Benson, let's talk business. I love that you have a unique perspective. First generation Nigerian, being born here, 2 careers in finance and now real estate. Walk us through your journey of A to Z, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a journey. So it started in 2019. I got my first internship at a large company you both may know, Trion Solutions, for Michigan. So I was that intern that was picking at the executives' brains, like, how did you get to where you are today? And it was awesome because I actually earned some mentorship from, the sales VP, the CEO, and the CFO, which was tremendously helpful. So I ended up meeting the financial advisor who managed their 401k plan at the time.
Oh, wow.
And, we sat down and had lunch. He told me, all the things I needed to do to get into the industry, what the day-to-day looked like. And I honestly fell in love, with the financial world. So what happened was 2 weeks later after that conversation, he comes back up to me and he goes, "Hey, I loved your initiative. I would like for you to come work at the firm after graduation." I was a junior at Oakland University, like, wow, I have a gig lined up already. This is awesome. So fast forward to 2021, I started at the firm at Arbitrage, studied for about 9 months, got my life and health, my variable annuities, my SIE, Series 7 and Series 66 license, and then I started running full speed with them. So it was a super awesome experience. So what we did was we visited small and mid-sized companies across different industries, from healthcare to automotive to manufacturing, you name it. The really cool part, John and Lisa, was we got to educate the employees on the importance of saving for retirement. But we also got to talk with the business owners and the C-suite on, how do we keep as much money in your pocket as possible? So we started talking about tax efficiency. So we got an opportunity to really provide strategic solutions for the business owners and C-suite.
There are like 10 life lessons in the story you've told so far, but the ones that I seize on are something my wife always says, actually: be curious and just talk to people. You never know what conversation with somebody in the hallway or just being that squeaky wheel talking to the executives is going to get you. And it turned into a gig a year before you graduate, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it was super blessed and grateful for that opportunity.
And you talked about strategic planning. One of the best ways to strategically plan for your retirement is investing in real estate. So you were big into investing before you got your license. What kind of properties were you purchasing?
Yeah, so I started off with single family. However, meeting my mentor, my investor mentor, Brittany, she really explained the power of multifamily investing, right? So as you know, Lisa, single family is based on comparative sales in the market in your neighborhood, whereas multifamily is based on net operating income. So it's valued as a business. So her story was, I'll just give it a quick example. She bought a 10-unit boutique motel in Mackinac Island for $440,000, small mom and pop land. She renovated it and the ARV was about $660,000. So she was all in for $660,000. The cap rate in that area, if I'm not mistaken, is around 6.5 or 7%. So it's NOI divided by the cap rate. I think her year one valuation was $1.1 million after doing $250,000 on Airbnb.
Let me stop you there because I'm the layperson in this conversation. So you're throwing in a lot of acronyms. Let me make sure I can distill this down. So she bought it for $660,000. She threw $250,000 worth of work into it, and now it's worth over $1.1 million. And there's that return on her investment. Do I have that right?
So she bought it for $440,000.
$440,000, I'm sorry.
And then she renovated it and was all in for about $660,000.
Okay. And she almost doubled it in terms of what it's worth.
She almost doubled it. She did $250,000 in gross revenue on Airbnb year one. Wow. Yeah.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And with multifamily too, you have to realize there's less expense because you have one building, so one roof, things like that. Versus in a single family residence, let's say you have 10 single family residents, you have 10 roofs. There's a big difference investing in a multifamily unit from a cost savings perspective. So glad you're getting into that and realizing the benefits.
I knew you two would have a lot to talk about. Benson, how did you make the transition over from the financial side to the real estate side? What prompted that and what did that look like?
This has been a long decision coming. It's been on my mind for about 3.5 years. When I fell in love with real estate initially, I just couldn't imagine, transitioning from, my full-time as a financial advisor over to, full-time commissions gig as a real estate. So large jump. So I would say it took a lot of prayer. It took a lot of consulting from my network and a lot of time spent with my vision to then make the jump. But like Lisa said, from a strategic standpoint, real estate is a large piece of retirement planning. And what I noticed that a lot of my clients, their net worth was comprised of almost 40-50% real estate. So when I saw that, I'm like, it's interesting. So to be able to transition with my background, I'd be able to kind of come from a more comprehensive standpoint with my knowledge in the market and now with real estate investing. I feel like it set me up for success as a real estate consultant now.
And you had mentioned one key thing. You have a mentor. I think that is such an amazing and beneficial aspect, especially when you're talking about investing in real estate, because there are risks. But having a mentor and somebody who's got experience and can guide you is phenomenal. How did you end up picking your mentor?
Yeah, so funny story. I met her at an open house in Royal Oak.
You never know.
Yeah, it was crazy. So this was back in 2022. I came back home from an up north trip. Love up north, by the way. And I fell in love with real estate. Guess how, guys?
It's an open house.
So I was up north and I didn't skip a YouTube ad. The YouTube ad was on rental arbitrage. I just didn't skip it and I kept learning more. So fast forward, I went to this open house in Royal Oak and I came to pitch myself to her. She was the listing agent on the home and I said, hey, what's the likelihood of your owners being willing to allow me to use this property for rental arbitrage? She says, well, I love that you had the courage to come pitch yourself. I'm an investor. Why don't we sit down for coffee?
What is rental arbitrage?
Yeah, so rental arbitrage is essentially, you have an apartment complex, right? You are pitching yourself to that landlord as a renter. However, you're going to be using the property to then rent out to Airbnb.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a way to basically start an Airbnb business, but without actually owning the equity in the home.
I see. That's okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah. So there's other liabilities and things that people need to be aware of if they're looking into doing that, liabilities, insurances, and such. But it is a great way to start a business if you don't have the money for a down payment on a home.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's how I ended up meeting her. We sat down, we hit it off, and she told me about a bunch of podcasts to listen to, STR Wealth, BiggerPockets, and I just, from there, it was off to the races.
I'm such a fan of BiggerPockets. There's so much information on there, and it's phenomenal to hear the stories of people that went from basically ground zero all the way to having a multi-million-dollar portfolio.
It's super inspiring. I agree.
We'll link to those in the show notes. So you mentioned mentors, and obviously I completely agree with Lisa how valuable it is to a mentor. You also told us off the air that you have a network of subject matter experts. Talk to us about some of these subject matter experts in different areas that you work with to help your clients and folks you interact with.
Yeah. So I have mortgage brokers who, specialize in different areas of real estate investing, whether it be on the residential side or the commercial side. In addition to that, I have, going from a financial perspective, so I still work with a handful of my business owner clients. So from that standpoint, the subject matter experts I work with are third-party administrators who specialize in cash balance plans and 412 plans. So really working on that tax efficiency area. And then going back to the real estate side, not only do I have the mortgage brokers, but I have specific title companies I work with that do title the right way. Other than that, I would say just my center of influences, whether it be CPAs, other investors, private money lenders.
And you had mentioned that you recently got your license. Who are you licensed with?
I am with Hub Real Estate Solutions. We are out in Plymouth, Michigan, my favorite city on planet Earth. Go check out downtown Plymouth if you've never been. It's a beautiful city.
It is. And welcome to the industry.
Thank you.
So Benson, tell us a little bit more about you. I know you like to travel. What do you do in your spare time? What do you do when you're not working? I assume you work a lot of hours, but what do you do when you're not working?
Yeah, so I love being out in nature, outside. I love Rochester Municipal Park. It's a beautiful scene. There's Cranbrook Gardens. Gosh, I spend hours there walking around. It's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Right, Lisa? It's awesome. Imagine going to high school there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's like Harry Potter, but like in the middle of the most beautiful setting.
Literally. But yeah, being downtown Royal Oak is pretty awesome. So I kind of walk around, do a lot of networking. But
You're new to Royal Oak as far as living, right?
I am new to Royal Oak, yes. June of 24. So it's coming on a year now. Yeah, other than that, I'm watching a lot of real estate shows. Owning Manhattan is a great one. Buying Beverly Hills, I love.
Yeah, I am totally addicted to all the real estate shows as well. But word of caution, there's a lot of unrealistic information on there. Let's just put it at that.
Call it creative license. How about that?
And creative costumes. I mean, the stuff some of these people are wearing, I'm obsessed.
Definitely creative costumes.
That's why I like being in the Midwest, not on the East or the West Coast. I am very happy right here in this part of the country. I think there's a lot more real here in real estate, to steal Lisa's line.
Well, Benson, now it is time for our Fishbowl question of the day, where we ask a totally random question. John, would you please pick a question?
All right, let's see here. All right. Okay. Ooh, okay. This one might be interesting. And if you're not comfortable with this one, Benson, I'll pull another one.
No worries.
What is the most embarrassing thing that happened to you in grade school?
Oof. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Okay, this was 6th grade. I'm messing around with all my buddies, the basketball team. We're out for field day, right? Mm-hmm. My buddies plotted on me, grabbed a bunch of wood chips, and just threw them in my face.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that does not sound fun at all.
Awful. It was awful. But it was embarrassing because, everybody was laughing.
Oh my gosh.
So let me guess, you do not put mulch around any of your properties.
Correct. They are nowhere to be found.
Boys will be boys, and boys are dumb.
Yeah.
A lot of times, boys are just dumb.
I didn't say that one. Thank you, John.
Just the stuff that, we did as young kids is just funny. It's crazy.
It's a good thing that phones weren't as ubiquitous as they are today when we were younger. That's
yeah, well, I'm actually grateful for that too. So, Benson, if our listeners want to reach out to you, what is the best way to contact you?
So the best way to contact me is my cell, 248-225-8622. And another way you can get a hold of me is my Instagram, which is Ben_ONYES.
We'll have to connect.
Yes, I would love to. Let's do it.
And
Let's do a deal together.
Let's do it, Lisa.
The train has left the station. We are well on the way. Of course, we're going to have Benson's contact info in the show notes. If you're not somewhere, you can write it down right now. Benson, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, John. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you again, Benson. I can't wait to do a deal with you. My name is Lisa Bibby, and I'm a realtor with Century 21 Northland. I put the real back in realtor, and we want you to love where you live. Questions about buying or selling your home? Call my cell at 248-981-3610. My website is soldbylisab.com, and you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Sold by Lisa B. Let's connect.
And I'm John Gay with Jag in Detroit Podcasts. I take the pain out of podcasting. If you've ever wanted to start a podcast but been intimidated by the process, you can shoot me an email, J-A-G, at jagindetroit.com, or you can find me on social at Jag in Detroit. Both Lisa's and my contact info are in the show notes. We want to thank you for listening to this episode of the ROCC Pod. It is produced for the Royal Oak, Michigan Chamber of Commerce. For more information on the Chamber or our events, you can visit royaloakchamber.com. Thanks, everyone.